Hey guys, and welcome to another Corona tutorial. In this one we will take a look at how to use Corona Essentials render passes and then how to properly compose them. So it's going to be divided in three parts, and first part I will show you how to properly output these render passes and what you need to be aware of to properly save them without any problems so they work correctly in the post-processing. Part 2 will be I will be showing you how to compose them in a Photoshop, and in part 3 I will be showing you how to compose them in Fusion, which is a node-based compositor that's currently distributed for free, the basic version by Blackmagic company. Okay, so first thing we need to do when we want to add Corona Essential Render Elements is just to go to Render Elements, click Add, and all these render elements that are labeled Corona Essential are those elements which we want to use. So basically they're all labeled with the same prefix, so that basically if you add all of them in the render elements list, render them out, and compose them all in the post using add operation, then you should be able to get exactly one-to-one same result as your beauty pass. But of course it's going to be broken into separate elements which you can then selectively tweak. And this composing of all the elements using add operation will work, but only assuming that we are not using any color transformation that basically break the linearity of the output. So to make sure we are not using any of those, you always need to make sure that highlight compression is set to 1 and contrast is set to 1 as well. As long as any of these is set to any other value than 1, then you will break the linearity of the image, and if you compose those Corona Essential Render Elements in post, you will not be able to get exactly one-to-one same image as your beauty pass. Okay, so if you do need contrast or highlight compression, especially the highlight compression in your rendering, then you will need to reproduce this effect in the post-processing after you compose all the render elements. So if we now do quick preview render, just a few seconds before the scene loads up, you can see we have direct illumination, we have emission, which is currently empty as we don't have anything directly emissive into our scene. We have indirect component, reflection, refraction, translucency, and volumetrics, which is empty as well because we do not have any volumetrics in our scene. And now if I click stop render, you will see immediately we are getting some error message, and that is because we always need to properly set up our output path. So we just go here to render output, we create a new folder, let's call it Mustang, and let's call it maybe final, and save it as EXR. To be able to properly compose the images in the post, you will always need to save them as full float 32 bits per channel EXR. Okay, so once this is done, once we render again, we should not have any problems with outputting our render elements. But before we do that, we need also some set of mask, because that's what I will use to demonstrate why our Corona Essential Pass is useful. So let's just quickly enable RGB object G buffers, make this 1, 2, 3, object ID 1, 2, 3, and now object ID 1 will be maybe all the car paint parts of our car. Okay, so maybe just look around, grab them. They won't be really visible in the in the from our camera view, but I want to be sure I get all of them, and this will be object ID 1. Then maybe metal parts of this bridge will be object ID 2 once I select all of them. Oops, this is taking a little bit longer than I thought, so let's make it a little bit easier. Grab the material, select by material, that's better. Object properties, let's make it 2. And these 3 proxies in the background, let's make them 3. Okay, so now I've got set up our render output. In here, I'm sure I do not use any other values in highlight, compression, and contrast than 1.0. And render elements are properly set up. As you can see, the path has correctly updated as well. Okay, so now I can just render head. And just wait for the scene to translate. I'm gonna again inspect all of the elements. They look good, but especially I'm interested in this one. And as you can see, we got our masks ready as well. So I'm gonna stop the video here, and in the next part I'm gonna show you how you can compose these elements in Photoshop. So see you then.